Chag Sameach. On behalf of Cantor Barnoy and Rabbi Allen and myself, we just wanted to take a couple of minutes before the holiday begins to reach out to you, to let you know we were thinking of you, and to let you know we miss you. This night truly is going to be different from all other nights. We hope that you will visit us in Shul, that we're going to be having our online services, and you've received in the mail the schedule, and we hope you will join us and we'll have a chance to sing together and learn together during the holiday. But for now, as we prepare to gather for our Passover Seders, we just wanted you to know that all of us at Temple Beth Sholom wish you a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a happy and a healthy Passover, even under these most difficult of circumstances. We thought what we might like to do is talk a little bit first about our Passover Seders and how they're going to be different. Cantor Barnoy, how's yours going to be different this year?
So I was thinking about the idea of how is it going to be different this year, and it's dawned on me that usually before Pesach, a couple of days before, we have all this excitement about who's coming to the Seder. And we set out the chairs and the little things that say the names of those people, and we're going to miss that this year. We're not going to have that. So this year, instead of who's coming to the Seder, it's more like who's not coming to the Seder. But excitingly, we are able to have Zoom to help us out, and we can Zoom with our friends. I just wanted to, but also tell you a little personally. For instance, Jessica, my daughter, she decided with her roommates to stay in Binghamton just to be a little safer. And so we talked about Zooming her in, and we thought that we would be able to Zoom all four of them in, but then it dawned on all of us, each family wants to Zoom with them. So they're going to sit at their own table, each one with their own laptop or iPad, and they'll all Zoom with their family. So it's a little, this whole thing is strange this year, but we'll all have to figure it out and enjoy whatever it is. Thankfully, my son is home with us, so it'll be the three of us and the rest of whoever's going to join us on Zoom.
Rabbi Allen, how is your Seder going to be different this year?
We're actually going to have a bigger Seder than we normally do. Usually our Seders are anybody who can sort of drive here, but now we're including people from every time zone in the country, which is unusual for our Passover Seder. So we're going to actually have a larger group, probably a shorter Seder, but a larger group. And it's, as the cantor said, I couldn't imagine doing this without the technology. It's really feeling super grateful for that. And it's going to be totally different. We're going to definitely remember it. This will be one for the ages. And I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
So we too are going to do a Zoom Seder. There was a while where we hoped that because we were quarantined, that maybe the kids would be able to join us or something, but it became clear that that was not going to happen. So everyone's going to be at their respective home. There's actually a couple of things which I'm looking forward to this year. Number one, I don't know about your experience, but the preparation has been a lot easier this year. It just somehow has been more, less the Passover craziness because of all the other craziness. But the Passover craziness has been a little elaborate. And cooking for two people is a lot easier than cooking for a large crowd of people. So that's sort of been somewhat less stressful. And I'm really looking forward to the idea that I have led, because of my rabbinic responsibilities, I've led a Seder for the 46 past years. I can't go to anybody else's Seder. And this year, I'm thinking, at least for one night, that we're going to Zoom and join with Ari. And I let him lead the Seder, right? Our other kids are going to be joining us and things like that. But I'm actually looking forward to that as well. But it's certainly going to be a very strange and different Seder this year. So before we sign off, I thought that maybe we would each take an opportunity to share a little something that we're going to share around our Passover Seder table. And it's our gift to you. If it's meaningful to you, feel free to share it around your table. Rabbi Allen, do you want to?
Thanks. Yeah. So the first thing I bought, this was already three weeks ago almost, when I was anticipating not being able to get to the store, matzah. First thing I bought. Probably the most important thing we need for our Seders. we refer to matzah as lechem oni, the bread of affliction, poor bread. And there's a question around, why would we eat the bread that we ate as slaves if tonight is the celebration of freedom? And there's a lot of interesting answers about it. What are we becoming free of? Chametz and the ego and all kinds of things like that. But there's a teaching from the Maharal of Prague. She says the following: Lechem oni, this poor bread, bread of affliction, is the opposite of matzah ashira, which is bread that has other material in it, oil or juice or honey or something like that. We can't use matzah ashira for the purposes at the Seder. It's not appropriate. Why? Because it has extra things in it. The matzah that we need in order to fulfill the mitzvah at the Seder is the matzah of only the essentials. And I'm really thinking about those things that are essential this year. What's really important for me to have at my Seder? How do I really need to prepare my house and my kitchen kashrut-wise? Who are the most important people that I'm trying to keep safe and love and reach out to? That's the lesson that I want to draw from the matzah this year. What's the essential? Can we use this crazy time to reflect about all those things that really, really matter with no extras? So I wish you Chag Sameach with the essentials.
Beautiful, beautiful. Cantor Barnoy, something at your table?
Yeah, so at the end of the Seder, we always finish with Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim. And of course, we all sing it together, and hopefully we'll sing it at the end of this video together, three of us. But just in an explanation, Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim literally in the Hebrew means next year in Jerusalem. Thinking about it this year, I also was thinking of a different interpretation of those words, especially when it comes to the word Yerushalayim, because Yerushalayim is also interpreted in some sources as Yerushalem, and it means a city of peace, or we could also see it as a state of peace. And I'm hoping that coming out of what we're facing this year, and it is dangerous out there, and it's scary, that when we say this year at our Seder Lashana Haba B'Yerushalayim, we don't only mean that may we be able to celebrate next year in Jerusalem, but that we may be able to celebrate next year in a state of peace and wholeness and health, and a state where we're not scared just to walk out our house or go shopping, and just a state of getting back to normal. That would be my wish.
Beautiful. So I've been thinking about the idea that the contrast between the Hebrew name for Passover and the English name. In English, we call it Passover. In Hebrew, it's Pesach. And they're not the same word at all. Pesach refers to the offering that was in temple times, the key observance. The first Pesach was actually observed in Egypt on the eve before their departure and liberation. They offered the Paschal lamb, if you remember, and they took the blood and placed it on the doorpost so that the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death, would pass over on its way to slaying the firstborn of all the Egyptians. The Passover gives us the English name, but the Pesach, the offering itself, gives us the Hebrew name. The image of that first Pesach, when our ancestors were huddled in their homes in Egypt, literally worrying about the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death who was passing over and praying that it would spare them, is so relevant, it seems to me, that our Passover this year is coming not only during this terrible plague, but the idea that we are being told here in New York that Dafka this week may well be the climax, and that there's an expression in Hebrew that comes out of the Passover experience, Ein bayit she'ein sham meit, when referring to the idea of the Egyptians, that there was no house that was untouched by the experience of death. And many of us are literally experiencing that reality, Ein bayit she'ein sham meit, that all of us this past week have felt the sting of this, of somebody we know who's either struggling or somebody we know who has died. And the way that they responded in that first Passover was a message of hope and of faith and of belief in liberation, in a better tomorrow. And time again throughout Jewish history, we have had that feeling of observing Passover while we cowered in our homes, worried about what tomorrow would bring, but always confident that it would bring something better. So we join with you in this Passover when we hope and pray that tomorrow will bring us the opportunity to celebrate with full hearts. But this year, no matter what's going on outside our home, we're going to create light and joy inside those homes as well. So Cantor, I wish we, on behalf of the three of us, we wish you Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a wonderful holiday. Cantor, why don't you lead us out? L'Shana Haba, next year in Jerusalem.
Chag Sameach. L'shana haba, l'shana haba, l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. Shana haba, l'shana haba, l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba, l'shana haba, l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. Shana haba, l'shana haba, l'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim habnuya.
Chag Sameach.